Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. This task has been outstanding for some time. What's he up to, you say? I'm not going to tell you. But this is one of the ceramics trays, so it's waterproof. It doesn't leak. Unfortunately, I actually want it to leak, so I need to make some holes. I'm making them slightly up, preferably without making a hole in my finger, because I want some water to stay in here, but as it's going outside I don't want it to stay full, so I'm just making some holes for water to drain out, and I want them a reasonable size. I don't want them getting blocked up. A set of holes all the way round. You might think, why do you need them all the way round? Well, if wherever I decide to put this isn't quite level, I could get a deep end. So by having holes all the way round, if it's not quite level, it still works. Right, what's it for then? What's it for is in here. And I'll warn you now, this has come from outside, and it might have wildlife in it. So if you don't like that sort of thing and creepy crawlies, now's the time to look away. The one thing I'm dreading is, because of where I got it, now you know what it is, sphagnum. But because of where I've got it, it was quite close to pine trees. And in amongst pine trees are wood ants. And the last thing I want to do is get wood ants on my hands, because they get incredibly aggressive when disturbed, and when they get aggressive they bite and sting. And they are big buggers. Excuse me, but they are big creatures, and they can give you a nasty bite. Right, well, I've managed to be lucky, I think. Oh, look at that. Tiny little fir cone. And no wildlife. Well, there's a tiny little spider in there, but I mean tiny. Okay, so I don't want this packed down. It's full of pine needles. That doesn't matter. I just want it to sit on the bottom without air pockets. That'll do. That was a good guess, wasn't it, for the amount. I'll go round and take as many pine needles off as I can later. And that's it. The only thing left to do now is pour some RO water in there up to the level of the holes, and that'll keep it moist. It's then going outside, so it will get rained on, it'll get bright light, and at some point in the day, depending on where I put it, it should get some sunshine, which it actually needs, believe it or not. Now, there's a video behind this one, which is my trip out to get this. Lots of bits of wildlife and butterflies and dragonflies and views over the area where I live, because I was asked to show some of where I live, which I've done. I haven't shown much, quite honestly, but one of the areas I went to, you got sphagnum moss coming out your ear holes, and if you watch the video you'll see why it's not a very safe place to go looking for things. I've tried to make that incredibly clear. It's a very dangerous place and it's not obvious, so you can have a look at that if you like. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. I've got a bit of heather. Now, this comes from an area that on the surface looks acidic. Yeah, there's lots of pine trees, lots of heather, and you know, a layer of pine needles under the pine trees, and growing in that area are rhododendrons, which shouldn't be there. Flipping alien invaders taking over the world, but they are there. And that means the soil is acidic. But this one little strip of land grows grass and no heather. So there's something different about that soil, which means that this sphagnum is more tolerant of not being in acidic water. A lot of sphagnum around the area I come from, if the water's not acidic, the sphagnum doesn't grow. But as I've said before, there are many types of sphagnum, and this one comes from an area that's nearer neutral than acidic. I wouldn't say it was absolutely neutral, but it can't be far off. Just looking at the plants that grow there, they're not your normal acidic plants, which is why I had this spot in mind for some time. And it's a strange little piece of land because you've got the road, and then you've got the ditch either side of the road, which is traditional because it stops people parking their caravans and dumping all their rubbish and all the things you shouldn't be doing on the side of the road. It stops that happening and also allows the road to drain. And then there's a bit of a hedge, and then set back a bit is the boundary into the forest. And that strip of land between the edge of the tarmac and the boundary to the forest is around 6 feet. But in this one bit of land, it widens out. For some reason it just gets wider, and that's where this strip of grass is. Now I think sometime in the past there must have been something there, you know, and perhaps something was done to the soil. Perhaps gravel was added so that vehicles could park there, but whatever the reason, that bit of soil is different, and it's between the road and the forest boundary, so it's like no man's land, and it's now minus some moss. Anyway, we have live sphagnum moss at the moment. My job is to try and keep the flipping stuff alive, and then I might dip into this every now and again and add it to the surface of pots and stuff. I do believe I've got at least 3 types of moss in here. There's sphagnum, which I can see clearly. Oh, there's another little spider. There's whatever this is, which is very pretty, and then there's this as well, which could be the same as that, I'm not sure, but I think there's at least 2 types of moss there. Right, it's actually pouring the rain at the moment. I got home just in time with this stuff, so I'm now going to chuck this out in the rain, pour some RO water in it to get a level, an initial level, and we have live sphagnum moss. Way! Let's just hope we can keep it alive now. Thanks for dropping by, see you next time.